All right. Doubts?
Sir, in this question, it is not saying that World Research Institute and World Business Council is under European Union, but
Hmm.
they are just coordinated and they are useful for like sustainable development, like
Hmm.
which is like in line with the question, right? Like Global Climate Change Alliance.
The global climate change is only about climate change, and World Business Council is for sustainable development in general. So the scope of the alliance is narrower than the scope of the World Business Council. Point number one. Point number two, it is helping, the organization has the name business in it. If we remove the word business, World Council for Sustainable Development, still there's a chance that this body could be helping with climate change, because climate change is a subset of sustainable development. But
Yes,
here
sir.
the stress is on the word business. So it is helping businesses become sustainable. Manoj,
Okay, sir.
do you agree
Yes,
with
sir.
this?
Yes, sir. But why I have chosen like 1, 2, and 3? Because in second statement also it's like it's provides technical and financial. I thought like World Resource Institute it can be like providing technical, and World Business Council is like it's for financial support kind of thing.
World
I
business,
thought
if nahi, who will provide technical assistance here?
like World Research Institute.
World research is not there, it is resources.
Sorry, resources. Sorry, sir.
Yeah, so resources means what? Technology is not a resource in the normal sense of the term. Resource are water, energy, renewable energy, like that kind of things. Crude, minerals, those are
Oh,
in the traditional
okay,
sense
sir.
of the word resources, right? Technology is not a resource.
Yes,
Please
sir.
object. Please object if you don't agree. Don't let me go ahead.
I thought like nowadays I mean technology if technology is there only they can do certain things, right? So in technical
Hmm.
aspects it can help. I mean
No, but
for
you
the
tell me, if there is a body that is dedicated towards giving technological assistance to countries, right? Are you with
Mhm.
me?
Yes,
If
sir.
there is a body that is dedicated to giving technological assistance, will it not reflect that in its name?
It will.
Is it reflecting here?
No, sir, not directly, but
Not
yeah.
directly. That is what you have to choose. You have to choose between 1 and 3. You have to make a choice. This is where UPSC is looking for, and this question is testing your ability to bear the stress, because it is a GAXA is an unknown body for sure. Global GAXA नहीं ये GCCA. GAXA के ऊपर भी अलग question है, but GCCA is a completely unknown body. Now you have to pick between European Union or third statement. What is the reason of picking one over the other? It could be that one statement is more inclined towards the name GCCA than the other, or the other statement has got something negative. That is why you are choosing the first statement, even though the first statement does not really have anything directly correlated with the name. European Union does not have anything directly correlated with money or technology. It's just European Union.
Yes,
But
sir.
but does it do these kind of projects? Does it do? You tell me. Does it do?
Sir, I don't know, but I thought it, when they mentioned alliance, I thought it could be European Union. There is a high chance I thought it would be.
So you picked Delta.
Yes, sir.
No, but then with European Union, how can world bodies be just the coordinating bodies? European Union is a smaller body than world body, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So if European, it is an initiative of, when look at the language, if it is an initiative of European Union, then it will be just coordinated by higher level bodies or lower level bodies. If it is an initiative of UN, it will be coordinated by UNEP.
Okay.
Doesn't it happen like that?
Got it, sir.
You see the conflict here with Delta? 1 and
Yes,
3
sir.
will
1
not be
and
together.
3 are in conflicting with each other, right?
The scope of the bodies, these are world level bodies, and the way in which the third statement is written is just coordination work. That means what kind of coordination? Technical and financial support. That is the coordination, the implementation part, right? So if European Union is implementing, then the bodies which are below or under the control of European Unions will be doing this coordination work. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Are these bodies under European Union? You tell me with the name. Are these under European Union?
No, sir.
That's all. Khatam. Is it?
Got it.
Are you getting the point?
Yes, sir. Got it.
Yes. So now you have to, if the doubt is between A and C, I can still understand. But delta is that this is a lower level doubt than between A and C. There could be a higher level doubt between A and C, like whether it is EU or it is third. But when both 1 and 3 are together, I feel this should not, like this is not that kind of doubt. So more practice is needed, Manoj.
Okay, sir.
Yes, Samakshi. Yeah.
Sir, in the 2022 question, wild animals wala.
नहीं
In
पहले
the
इसको खत्म
exam,
करेंगे. रुको
अच्छा.
पहले. Anybody else having any problem in this question?
Sir, hello, sir.
हाँ निकी बोलो.
Sir, in this question, like
Oh.
I saw global was written. So I
Hmm.
thought that European Union is not a global body, so I
Oh.
eliminated that option. So is that a right way of thinking or not?
It is saying global, but it is also saying to targeted developing countries. Na? Global does not really mean every country of the world.
No,
Targeted
that is a
global
second
countries.
statement, but it is an initiative of European Union. So I thought that European Union, if they do something, why they will name it global? So
Then
that-
what will they name? If they want to target developing countries in Asia, Africa, and Central Asia and South America, what will they name this body?
no, anybody can name that.
Hmm.
I'm not telling that it was correct. That's why, right? Suppose instead of European Union, some other organization was there.
Hmm.
Then we would have not thought that why that organization has not
Then
named
you
it.
are changing the nature of the question in that case. You are changing the nature of the question because everything has to sync. It should be bottom up as well as top down.
Okay.
You're getting the point. The thing is, just the word global does not mean European Union cannot be. Are you saying that European Union will do only regional projects? Are you saying that?
No.
Then what is the doubt? I'm not. If they cannot,
No,
if they are
I
not
thought
doing
that
only,
like names have meanings.
Huh.
I thought. So I thought
don't.
that global, if it is written, so
Then what kind
some
of-
world body will be there. Like World Resource Institute was written in the
Okay.
third statement. So I
Okay.
thought that global world is related kind of. So I thought
Agreed.
maybe one will not be there, 2, 3 would be there. That's why.
No, dekho, just because the problem with this approach is you are eliminating European Union because it doesn't feel that it will do some global project.
Hmm.
But you yourself are saying that it can do global project. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So
It
you did
can
not
do,
think about it. So
but
can
I
do
have to
na?
choose between
Sir,
1 and 3.
Ankit,
So
bolo.
that-
sir, the very fact that it's an initiative of European Union,
Hmm.
the climate change initiative has to be global, right? Because everything is connected. If you form an organization naming European Union Climate Change Alliance, anyway, there is apprehension among the developing nations with respect to the transfer of technology. Why would they come up with something that is not global when it comes to protecting environment?
Yes, this also is a way of thinking about it.
Hmm.
Very
Yes,
much
sir.
agreed.
Okay, sir. Got it.
Got it. Chal, I
Yes,
got
sir.
yaar. Ankit, aaj to छा गए. Here, and the problem, there are two problems in your approach in this question, Nikhil. One is just assuming that the word global is not there in European, is not syncing with European Union, and it is syncing with the third statement. You are, without any rational basis, you are getting biased towards the third statement. ये bias आ रहा है दिमाग में.
Yes, sir. Correct, sir. Correct.
हाँ, इसको counter करना है consciously. This is a good thing you shared in this class.
Yes, sir.
So ये bias जो आ रहा है, now you know that in what kind of situations you tend to go, you're leaning, your mind
Yes, sir.
wanted to prove
Hmm.
something, and
Yes,
you
sir.
went with your mind rather than going, actually, does it make any logical sense or not?
Yes, sir. I understood my mistake.
Huh?
I understood my mistake now.
Yes, and then the other problems also are there. I told you, bottom up and top down must match,
Yes.
right? So top down, if you go 2 and 3,
Hmm.
in 2 and 3, institute is a very small thing. It is talking about global level body. Thirdly, if targeted developing countries are being helped, then will India also not be a contender for this help? Will
Yes, sir.
will India not try to get help from these institutes under this program?
Yes, sir.
Would you not have heard about it in that case?
Yes, sir. Heard.
तो वो top down नहीं match हो रहा ना?
Hmm.
So there is problem.
Yes.
Yeah. Got it clear?
Yes, sir.
What else in this question? Anyone else?
Yes, sir. Sir, I had a similar thing to say.
Yeah.
I raised my hand. Sir, actually, even I took the similar path, but I had a different destination. I marked B because how I assumed it, I'll tell you. So global, so
Hmm.
European Union is a restricted body, like it does mostly things for itself. It's a kind of organization which is limited in scope
Hmm.
and has its own benefits in mind. So global,
Hmm.
वो नहीं
Hmm.
होगा, EU नहीं
Okay.
होगा.
Okay.
And then I was like कि अभी सेकंड एंड थर्ड बचा है, थर्ड तो
Hmm.
दोनों में ही है, तो थर्ड तो सही होगा जो मेरे में से बचा था ऑप्शन, तो थर्ड इज फाइन. I'll read the second statement. Now it says targeted developing countries.
Hmm.
So why would any global thing be targeted at only developing countries? And why? Because the climate change is a global thing, it must be
Hmm.
more expansive. So I eliminated two as well, and then I was left with B, third only. And I didn't even look at the third, like really look at the third. I did read it, but then I was like, this makes more sense because of the global word.
Okay. So do you still have the same approach, or after this discussion has your approach changed in some way?
So one or two things, like I agreed with the alliance part that it's an alliance, so maybe I could have looked at that word as well instead of only looking at global. But I still have I think that my approach was reasonable even now.
Okay.
Like I might
Okay.
commit a similar mistake.
Okay. Good you shared. Good you shared. So one of the most important things, one of the most important techniques that we have learned is, in order to be correct, when you are dealing with unknown things, unknown bodies, unknown projects, unknown anything, what is given in the statement, the information should be related to what the question is talking about. Have you seen the first class, Akanksha?
Yes, sir, I've seen that.
So in that we discussed, right? It has to be related to the thing that the question is talking about, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is the second statement related to the Global Climate Change Alliance name?
So it is related to climate change, but not to the global part. That is what I assumed.
No. So, okay. Now, when you are reading about climate change, management, mitigation, etc., what is the whole effort of the UNFCCC? Is it trying to help the developed countries also, or actually it is trying to get resources from developed countries, CBDR, common but differentiated responsibility, and have a fund that is helping for developing countries overcome and mitigate climate change? What is it trying to do?
That is true, sir. It is trying to get that fund and trying to do it for developing countries as well. But it is always propaganding its approach. Like they want to do it because in some way they want to create a market for their own technologies. I mean,
नहीं
this is
वो
how
तो
it is
ठीक है.
being used.
नहीं सी वो बिहाइंड द सीन्स क्या किसके ऑब्जेक्टिव्स हैं, क्या मार्केट क्रिएट होगा नहीं होगा, दैट्स अ डिफरेंट थिंग. ऑन द फेस ऑफ इट यू टेल मी समथिंग एज पॉपुलर लाइक अ UNFCCC, इज इट अ ग्लोबल एफर्ट?
Yes, sir.
Is it targeted at helping developing countries overcome climate change challenges?
Yes, sir. Both. It is kind of bringing them together, the north and the south.
The north and the south, right? So UNFCCC also is helping developing countries. What is the problem with this in that case?
True, sir. But UNFS is still like much more expansive in its scope, like more global.
How is it any more global than global GCCA? You know about it. That's why you feel it's more global in the sense of more participation, right?
True, more participation is what I intend.
Yes. So because there is more participation, you know about it. Because of such high importance, it's a UN level thing. UN means all countries are a part of that. So because it is so important, it is in the news and you know about it. This also is a global thing, but it is not of as many countries because it is of EU. It doesn't have that kind of resources. It doesn't have that kind of reach. And that is why it is helping targeted developing countries. Not every developing country. So maybe targeted developing countries in Africa only. It could be. Or some country, sometime South America, sometime some other continent. Targeted countries. Not all developing countries. If it said all developing countries, then it would be a big thing. It would be then of the scale of UN. Yes or no?
So that is true. While you are making sense, while everything that you said is making sense, but I'm just trying to find the faults with my approach because I eliminated first and then and on the basis of that first statement only, I eliminated second because I felt both of them were in similar tone and hence need to be eliminated. I think
So
maybe
what you need to change is, have you practiced all the questions which we have had so far and the explanations of the questions also we have given so far?
not the previous questions, all of them, not them.
So I would encourage you to please practice those questions and watch the explanation, the solution video. The time of this whole class is going into something which they already understand well. Okay, Akanksha, tomorrow
Yes,
we have a class at 11 a.m. That's a refresher class. You solve all the questions so far, you watch their solutions, you come in that class. We'll discuss your doubts then. Okay?
okay.
Yeah. Any other question? Abhishek, you have a question you have a doubt in this question?
Yes, sir.
Bolo.
Sir, the financial and technical part mentioned in the statement too, sir.
Hmm.
I am facing problem with this thing, sir.
What problem?
Repeatedly means this is the means whenever it mentioned like technical and financial, I think that if you do so important thing, I would have heard.
Okay. But
So
because it is a European Union kind of project, like Japan is helping India, the project actually is named some global kind of thing only. And Japan is actually helping India. It's a small project. So not all countries would have heard about it. It's a EU का project. They have named it global. वो अपने को खुश करने के लिए उन्होंने name कर दिया. It's not as big as really some UNFCCC project. That's why you have not heard of it. If European Union were not there, if third were there, these are world level bodies, then certainly we would have heard because we would have tried to get funding, finance, help from this project. Yes or no?
yes, sir.
हाँ. अगर
Sir,
EU नहीं होता.
yes, sir. But I didn't decide that you would be there. It was just likely that it could be there, but I
It
was
could be there.
not sure.
So
That's
that's what you should not take a call in the first go itself without reading all three statements. You should not take a call about EU, correct or incorrect. It's like 50-50. Can be correct, may not be correct also. But we don't have a reason to negate EU.
Yes, sir.
Do we? Do we have a reason to negate
Yes,
EU?
sir. First, after rejecting second statement, sir, I was left with one and third.
Second क्यों
And
reject
so
किया? Why did you reject second?
because that I thought I would have heard if it was doing so. It means it was doing something for developing countries. I would have heard.
No, but वो related unrelated वाला भी तो angle होता है ना. That is where I mean all of if when we are going in the right direction, everything will make sense. There will be no conflict.
Yes, sir.
Everything will make sense. Names have meaning, heard, unheard, up, down, hacks, wax, sub sense banayega. Everything will give you a green light.
Yes, sir. I missed the related and unrelated part, sir. Yes, sir.
So do you see? Are you now satisfied?
Yes, sir. Related. I didn't see the related and unrelated part.
So I hope your doubt is clear now.
Yes, sir. We can move to next.
Okay. So guys, you take it as a thumb rule. Take it as a thumb rule. Whenever you are moving in any direction, just check for the other, red flags in the way. Check for names have meaning. It should be linked. It should not be. There should not be any conflict. Also see the hacks which you have, which you know about. Everything will be giving you a green signal if you are going in the right direction. That is bottom up. and top-down approach. If anything is going amiss, that's something you have to be careful about. Then you think it's a hint that you are not in the right direction. Yes, Bharti.
Good evening, sir.
Hello, good evening.
Sir, I just want to say कि, like everybody is so advanced in this question, like Ankit saying so technical things and Akansh channel. So my approach is a little bit different in this question. So, sir, when I read this question, I read first statement, second and third. So this would have heard technique, as you said. So I never heard all of this institution, like in climate change related editorials, in environment book
Fine.
and NCERT,
Fine.
and even monthly current affair magazines.
Yes.
I never heard these two institutions, so I directly eliminate this third statement. I got my answer.
That's
So, sir,
okay. That's
is it wrong to do this question like?
See, Bharti, इसमें wrong क्या है कि आप बहुत जल्दी, you were too quick in deciding that just because you have not heard of something, there will be many things which you have not heard of, still they will be correct. यहाँ पे ये incorrect हो गया, वो किस्मत थी.
Yes.
There's a role of luck here. You got the right answer, but that's not the best way to approach it. The best way should be what we have discussed so far. Names have meaning, so process the name. Global Climate Change Alliance. It's a global body dealing with climate change, like OPCW, Organization for Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, right? So naturally, chemical weapons की बात हो रही है, organization की बात हो रही है, it will be again a global body only, and it's a body narrow in scope, dealing only with chemical weapons, not with nuclear, not with biological, not with any other weapon, only with chemical weapons. तो वहां से you will get the scope of the question. You will get those red lines beyond which nothing should be there. So this is helping you. The question itself is setting those red lines. Ice cube question. It should be icy. It should be QB. Red lines.
Yes.
Anything going, if it said it's a round facility, then it will be wrong. It has to be something dealing with cube. Okay.
Yes,
So those red lines will be set only by the question. अगर उसको नहीं ध्यान दिया तो फिर वो रेड लाइन नहीं होगी. रेड लाइन नहीं होगी तो किस्मत पे फिर भरोसा करना पड़ जाएगा. फिर डिपेंड करेगा अगरबत्ती कितनी महंगी लगाई है. राइट?
Yes, sir. So बस इस बार लकी रहा, बस इसलिए क्वेश्चन
lucky. Yes, you are just lucky. You are just lucky. So the first step should always be to process the name and determine those red lines. And this is one big reason why UPSC is giving you these statements. कुछ ना कुछ ऐसा दे देगा जो ये red line से बाहर हो जाएगा. Something will be given which will be outside of these red lines. Anything falling outside is incorrect. That's all. Right? That is one way of identifying mistake. Another way is if you cannot find something outside, if everything is inside the red lines, then you see what is conflicting with each other. आपस में क्या conflict हो रहा है? Maybe some statements will conflict. Independently, the statements can be correct. Like independently, one can be correct. Independently, third can also be correct in this statement. But 1 and 3 together will not be there. Because it's a European Union and these are world bodies. Hefty match नहीं कर रहा.
Yes,
Scale नहीं match कर रहा, right?
Yes.
तो ये practice से आएगा, Bharti.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Anything else, guys, in this question? Anyone? Now let's do the next doubt. Samakshi, you were saying something.
Sir, the wildlife protection wala question, the last one. Sir, in the exam, I got this question wrong. The answer is A. I had marked B. But later on, while solving the question, I felt ki the option 3 gets eliminated quite easily. Statement 3 gets eliminated quite easily.
Good.
And then, so second is true for sure.
Yes.
So the second statement leads to the first statement.
Yes.
If something is protected inside and outside, everything it becomes the sole property of the government.
That's one way of thinking, yes.
That was my approach, and I just wanted to ask your comments on that.
There can be infinite ways of thinking about anything. Till the time something is not contradicting itself in some way, you need to have some reason to say no. You should, it's very easy to say why something can be right, because even if for some reason why you want to say something as right, is more error prone. There can be one way in which one thing is right, but the same thing could be wrong in certain other way. So instead of going for finding what is right, try to find even one reason why you can confidently eliminate or say something is wrong. If you can find even one reason for something being wrong, then certainly it will not be the answer. It has to be right in every sense, in every case.
So
There
in the
cannot be.
exam, the first statement, I thought it would be wrong because I thought कि Schedule 5 होता है, vermin होता है. If we are allowed to kill, then it is not a property of the government. So that is what I thought. Vermin वाला सोच के कि नहीं, it is not everything can be property of the government. Wild animals are in zoos also. Fine, they are in captivity, but they are still wild animals. So
No, the question is
public.
about Indian laws about wildlife protection. In zoos, you will not count those animals as wild animals. Huh? They are
Right,
in
right.
situ.
नहीं, I
They
get
are
it
ex situ.
now.
Ex situ. हाँ.
They are
Yes.
ex situ. I get it now, but
Yes.
उस समय my brain just rushed to zoo and
That's right.
vermin and all of that.
That is the pressure, you know, that is the slippery slope kind of thing that I was talking about in the second statement in this question. The same slippery slope was there in the e-businesses question of 2022. The same slippery slope was there in the Kautilya question, Arthashastra question. Okay, till now in the Arthashastra question, I like, you know, that was a question which very well you will feel that elimination can work because it's about a book. You're not supposed to know the details of the book. So if you're thinking in one way, as per the answer key of the institutes that you have, the most prominent is vision, which has got the least number of errors on an average. You are going wrong as per vision answer key, but if you're thinking in some other way, you are going right in the same thing, in the same option. So these are like slippery slope questions. You cannot avoid these questions, but these are the questions where elimination technique will falter. I've told you, like in 20-25% cases, elimination technique will go wrong and we'll not know which questions are these questions, right? But if we know what is a slippery slope kind of statement or question, we know that we don't want to attempt that question in the initial rounds, or we don't want to attempt those statements in the initial rounds. Look for low-hanging fruits.
I had attempted this in the third round only, but the mistake I made was wildlife. I didn't pay that much attention as I should have.
Yes.
That was the problem, but I think वो mistake, it is going with practice.
See, that was your first attempt. You were not trained in elimination also, तो ठीक है वो, it's okay. पहली बार कोई इतना भारी ऐसा नहीं है कि something patently wrong जो avoid होना ही चाहिए था, ऐसा नहीं है. But with practice, now you'll not make that error. You're much more trained now. You're much more conscious of these things now. Okay.
Right.
What else, guys?
Sir, I just wanted to add to that question a comment that it is written in the question that Indian laws. So we can have a thinking like, if a law is written, what would be written in it? If we think in that way, we'll easily get that it could be written that sole property of the government, because in law, what else could be written? So that can be a way of thinking.
नहीं, वो law में what else could be written? Law में हर बार ऐसे थोड़ी लिखेगा everything is sole property of the government. Law तो restrictions भी तो लगाते हैं.
Like you told in the beginning, it could be either public or private. So if it is written, people will think that it may be something else. So in law, it would be written public, instead government would be written. For public, government is the representative.
Sir, he's saying the very fact the law is being made, it will be made in the direction of protection. So it has to be I'm protecting something. So I don't know. I do not agree with this statement, but something like just because law is being made with respect to wildlife protection, and it will be a step towards protecting something. So there has to be any statement animals, because they want to stop the killing. So it will be a sole property of the government, something like that.
देखो, the thing is, there are multiple ways of thinking about the first statement. Wild animals, if you look at the scope of the term wild animal, it's very wide. You know, every kind of wildlife.
Exactly. Just because it's what C has made mistakes in this question, I also marked it B option, only 2 option. I also did it, but I did it in the very first attempt because I thought कि यार wild animal सिर्फ सरकार की property, why it would be सिर्फ only government's property?
Why not? Why not? तुम बताओ ना मेरे को. If
So
wild animals are not the property, sole property of the government, that means wild animals can be property of private individuals also, be it tribals, even tribals. I'm not saying cities, city dwelling people. Even tribals के भी मानोगे तो can the tribals claim that wild animals are our property? They are wild animals. What is the meaning of wild then? If something is a property of something, then it becomes domesticated, ना? अगर उस sense में बात करोगे तो.
So sir, this is what I thought कि I did not thought कि wild animals while being in wild. This is the problem कि
ये प्रोसेसिंग में एरर हो गया फिर. The question statement is talking about Indian laws about wildlife protection. The question is intending to talk about only wild animals in situ, जंगल वाले animals, not in zoo, not in any other kind of वो पकड़े हुए नहीं. जो protected areas में जो तुम्हारे जंगलों में जो मिलेंगे वो वाले animals.
अगर wildlife की जगह protection of animals तो होता फिर then
Indian laws about protection of animals. In that case, zoo wale bhi covered hai. Then every animal is covered.
Then it will not be the sole property of the government then? Because then people domesticate wild animals also.
Yes, फिर उसमें scope थोड़ा हो जाता है कि sole property वाले को change करने का. Because you are talking about protection of animals and not just wild animals. यहाँ पे animals में तो फिर हर जानवर आ जाएगा ना.
Pets भी आ जाएंगे.
सब आ जाएगा. Then you are talking about protection of animals.
Sir, protection of animal. Animal is a white term.
Yes.
So first statement is not mentioning whether it's domestic animal or wild animal.
Yes.
Protection of animal.
Yes.
And then we come to the first statement. Wild animal are the sole property of the government. How to handle this?
Then also this statement is correct, na? Because the scope of the statement is about wild animals only. When you say, if instead of wild animals it were given in the statement, animals are the sole property of the government, then wrong.
Sir, but wild animals, so that's what comes into play, na? Wild animals, wild being in wild.
No, wild animals just by the nature of them being wild.
So then if I have domesticated a tiger, is it a property of the government?
Then it is not a wild. If you are domesticated, it's not wild.
So, sir, how to draw a line कि ये wild है?
There are tigers you would have seen in those temples, na? वो Chinese temples, Shaolin और वो क्या Buddhist Thai temples.
Arabi people also, they also.
Yes, cheetah उनके पास रहते हैं. But they are domesticated cheetahs. Cheetah is a wild animal. Wild animal means what? Something. I'm not saying wild animal cannot be domesticated. Wild animal means by its nature, generally. When you think of cheetah, when you think of rhinoceros, elephant भी तो wild animal है ना? लेकिन dog, wild dog नाम है. Wild dog होता है. Normal dog से क्या मतलब है? Domesticable dog. Right? Goat. Wild का क्या है? Mountain goat.
Himalayan goat.
Himalayan Thar वो
Thar, Himalayan Thar.
नाम अलग हो रहा है ना? Are you getting the point?
Oh, the concept got clear right now. I thought wild people living in wild is animal living in the wild are.
If it is, अगर तुम एक शेर पाल लोगे तो वो wild जानवर नहीं रह जाएगा. It's a domesticated animal then. It's your pet. Pets are not wild animals. Pets are not wild animals. That is the principle. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any doubt? Any doubt?
No, sir.
No? किसी शेख को बोलो जंगली शेर को रखे अपने साथ. Ask him if that's a wild animal. It's not a wild animal, it's a pet. That is the whole difference between a pet and a wild animal. So 3 kinds of animals we can say. One is domesticated animal like camel, goat, cow, and buffalo. One is pet like dog. Actually, pet is a subset of domesticated animal.
Domestic only, sir.
And then wild. Wild means non-pet, non-domesticated. Yes.
But there are some animal which are wild but can be domesticated, and they will not be considered.
But
pet,
like the tigers. Tigers in a temple, they are pets. Cheetahs in that Arab's home is a pet.
They will not fall in the category of wildlife protection.
Yes, because it is not wildlife. It is not life that is wild. It is life that is pet. Life that is domestic.
But then this question is very conceptual then. We thought
this question requires you to be attentive about the term. That's why I said it's a slippery slope question. It requires you to be attentive about the various dimensions given, and there's a very high chance of overthinking in this question. So you must identify the low-hanging fruits. The third statement is the low-hanging fruit. First, go for that. वहां से option eliminate होगा.
Okay, so that done, but this is not
like the debate, the dilemma that we have, at least in the context of India, domesticating wildlife in any case is illegal. So by virtue of that also I feel like वो बनता ही नहीं है वो point कि domestic wildlife किसके under आएगी. The government actually does have sole rights over the wildlife.
Yes.
देखो वो what you are saying is from the standpoint of knowing this thing.
Okay.
But he is debating a principle, like he's debating something. If you know, theoretically he's debating.
Got it.
Ankit, is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Chalo, Ashutosh.
Also, in this statement, I think UPSC will not try to trap us on the question whether the animal being talked about is by nature wild and whether we are allowed to domesticate it or not. I think here it is about wild animals living in the wildlife.
Yes, you are right. See, the tone of the question, the sense, you need to look at what the question is trying to ask you. The question is not quizzing you about the scope of wild animals. The question is quizzing you about the ownership of wild animals. So the meaning, the general meaning of the term wild animal is to be thought of here, not of vermin, not of exceptions to wild animal. The question is not quizzing you about the scope of the term wild animal. It's quizzing you about its ownership. Can you see that? And the question statement also is talking generally about Indian laws protecting wildlife. So this match is happening. Abhishek, your hand was raised.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to ask, sir, the first statement, like sole property. Is there any informality, sir? Because I somehow got that vibe, sir, that.
देखो informal तो नहीं है. I think it's an extreme statement. Yes, sole property बोल रहा है. Extremity है. You know, exclusivity है कि सिर्फ government का होगा. That extremity is there, but वो लूज नहीं है. Like जो लूज हमने कौन सा देखा था? There was a question where we saw loose statement, no, today. Look at the third statement in the same question. Apprehension of a wild animal becoming danger. Do you sense the looseness in this statement? This is informal. First statement is not informal. First statement is extreme, yes, but it's very formal.
Okay.
This is a first statement is a statement which can be there in your books, which can be there in formal documents. So how do you, one of the tests of identifying formality is just see if this statement could be there in formal documents of the government or not. It can be there. It's a formal statement. Third statement jaisa nahi hoga. Third is a loose statement. Loose statements are generally incorrect. Generally, not every time. Yes. Anything else?
No, sir. If it is like a sole property part, if I would not have this doubt, then second statement is kind of supporting, sir. The first statement, like it has mentioned when a wild animal
yes,
is
like
protected.
Samakshi was saying, the first is getting derived from the second statement. Yes, that's one way of thinking about it, right?
Yes, sir, because it is mentioning, sir, whether it is found protected in the protected areas or outside. Even if it is outside, even if today someone domesticates a tiger, it would be in the purview of the government because we are focused on protecting.
That is what she Prabha is saying. No, it is not legal to domesticate tigers in India or
Yes,
wild
sir.
animals.
Yes, sir.
हाँ,
Yes, sir.
वो तो है.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And
Similar
also
criteria.
look at the whole philosophy of protecting wildlife. Na? If it is
Yes, sir.
only within the zones, is it possible for the government to, you know, not ensure that the wild animals are not coming out of their natural habitat? It's not possible for the government to do that.
No, yes,
If it
sir.
is not possible
Yes,
for
sir.
the government to do that, then how can it say that when it is outside, you kill it?
Mhm.
Then there is no protection. And this whole issue of man-animal conflict, why is it happening? Just because of this. Nah? If it was legal for villagers to kill the animal which is coming in their village, then this man-animal conflict thing will not make news. वो आएगा मार देगा उसको बस खत्म.
Mhm.
Because the government is not allowing villagers to kill the animal, वो team भेजेगा उसको पकड़ेगा वो effort मारेगा ना. That is why man-animal conflict is there. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
Sir,
just last comment
I
on this
saw
question.
the same way as Samakshi said, because while reading the second statement itself, it automatically making statement 1 also to be right.
Hmm.
That's how actually in exam I made it wrong, but now I got it actually.
Good. Yes, Akansha.
Sir, actually, I had come across this question before while solving certain PYQs, so I marked it right. But still, I feel like if I were in exam, I would, the superficial rules that we often go by for elimination. कि extreme statement है, soul लिखा है. How can it be? Even we won't think about the government. कि government की scope कितनी बड़ी है. Government is not just one single body at parliament or legislature. Government का scope बहुत ज़्यादा. Even central authorities under the zoo would come under the government.
Yes,
तो
yes.
ये सोचना चाहिए मतलब जब हम अभी एलिमिनेशन में मतलब दिस इज समथिंग आई रिफ्लेक्ट अपॉन नाउ मे बी इन एग्जाम लाइक सिचुएशन आई वुड हैव जस्ट सीन द वर्ड सोल एंड आई वुड हैव बीन लाइक बहुत एक्सट्रीम है गलत हो जाएगा वो तो इससे बचना चाहिए
इससे बिल्कुल सही बोल रहे हो. The thing is the YouTube gyan that is there, they are talking about hacks and not about ways of thinking or techniques. That's the difference. That is what we were discussing yesterday in the class. Hacks, if you make them primary, there's a very high, hacks are like 50-50. कभी काम करेगा कभी नहीं करेगा. And this is why this whole sense of elimination techniques are useless that is coming up. How can it be useless in a paper which is hiring people for managing unknown situations? How can it be useless? How can logical thinking be useless? It cannot be useless. So something is useless. What is useless? Those hacks are useless. They will work. I'm not saying they do not have any correctness to them. They are based on trends, but the thing is trends can change anytime. So they can be like your overall top down approach. If something from bottom up you are arriving at an option, then you can look at just the hacks also. Okay, is it matching everything just to be super safe kind of? So in that case, yes, but do not go for just hacks. अगर extreme है तो गलत कर दो. अगर ministry का नाम है तो गलत ही होगा. ये बहुत dangerous approach है. Are you getting this?
yes sir
Anything
Hacks
else,
don't
guys?
give satisfaction.
It will not give satisfaction यार. वही तो हम इतना effort मार रहे हैं. क्यों मार रहे हैं? Bottom up उठने के लिए मार रहे हैं ना. नहीं तो hacks तो 2 घंटे में पढ़ा देंगे यार. वो क्या वो 10 चीज है वो तुमको इतना महंगा कोर्स ज्वाइन करने की क्या जरूरत है फिर फ्री में देखो यूट्यूब पे बट दिस इज द होल पर्पस you need to understand the roots of things. Once you understand the roots, then you will develop your own way of thinking. यार फिर कोई नहीं रोक पाएगा तुम्हें. You know कहाँ traps है क्या है. You just need to be more aware than your competitor. That's all. You don't need to know everything. Nobody can know everything. You just need to be more aware, more conscious than the other people who are writing. You will be in the 15,000 who will be writing mains. That's all. So should we end the class? Is there any other doubt?
No, sir.
So I'll stop the recording now. You are free to disengage. You are free to turn, like, you're free to go. If there is any other doubt about anything you wish to discuss, stay back. We'll clarify that. I'll just stop the recording now.